We're here with Jeffrey Brown, the creator of Incredible Change Bots and multiple autobio comics. Thanks a lot for meeting with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
How is it that you came to this decision to write about your life and then put it out there for the world to see?
Well, originally I was just writing about my life without thinking about putting it out there in the world. I was in art school and wanted to make something that was really personal and wanted to get back some of the fun I had making art. And the most fun I had was when I was a kid drawing comics. So I thought if I write something autobiographical and make it as a comic, that would kind of accomplish those two things at the same time. And then the response from friends and people I was showing it to was good enough that I thought, well, maybe I could publish a short run of this. And then that did well, and it just kind of snowballed from there. So
how has that, I mean, what kind of response have you gotten to it? Do you find that you have people commenting on your life, or is everyone just sort of coming up to you and saying, what else have you done?
Yeah, there's a wide range of responses. I think people tend to read them and take them very personally. And they're very personal books, but it's funny because people's reactions vary differently according to their experiences. So people who have been through similar situations tend to be more sympathetic, and then other people, tend to sympathize differently, or which I think is really gratifying that it's a book that they kind of forget they're reading a book and they become like invested emotionally, whether they like or dislike me as a person in the book or as a character. But yeah, and then definitely people are interested in the non-autobiographical work, and they tend to. I hear from people who hadn't read comics before, and this reading my autobiographical comics was kind of a breakthrough for them in their interests. So,
what's been the most challenging thing for you to write about? What were something you were putting down and you're like, gosh, I don't know,
Well, the most challenging thing is actually what I'm writing about right now, which is kind of about growing up in the church. My dad's a minister, and I'm basically atheist. And so it's something that was such a huge part of my life growing up, and still plays a big role, I think, in who I am. But so trying to figure out how to write about that in a way that's sensitive and subtle enough to express these kind of very mixed feelings I have about religion and about childhood, and then also now being a father myself and having my son. So trying to wrap all those things together in the right way has been pretty challenging, and that's what I'm working on right now, actually.
So is that something that's coming up soon, or is that serialized?
I think it's short enough that I probably won't serialize it, and hopefully maybe next year, toward the end of next year, I think is when I would estimate it coming out. But I thought ChangeBots 2 was going to come out last fall already, and then it took me way longer to finish it, so it just came out this week, and so I don't want to make any commitments as to when it'll come out until I finish it, I guess.
Let's talk about ChangeBots for a minute. That is sort of your love letter to your childhood, in a sense.
Yeah, definitely. I grew up watching the old Transformers cartoons, reading the old Marvel Transformers comics, and all those cartoons and toys in the 80s, and just kind of the worldview that all those properties present is really interesting, and it's fun to draw robots. And it's a good place to put in just a lot of humor and jokes. So.
Now, is it right? Did I read somewhere that when you were a kid, you actually had a tape that you made that was nothing but the sounds of Transformers transforming? You just listened to this?
Not quite. I had the soundtrack to the first Transformers film, and I was in high school, and I had this. It's got the song "You Got the Touch" and all the music from the film. But my friends, they're giving me a hard time, and they're like, what is that tape? Is that just 90 minutes of and that was really actually the kind of one of the main inspirations for doing the ChangeBots, was thinking about this joke my friends had made all these years ago about the sound effects of the robots, and that kind of got me doodling in my sketchbook, and it came out of there. So,
What's been the most fun drawing the change bots for you?
you know, I have so many rules for myself when I'm working on the autobiographical comics, like whether it's conscious or not, but the way I approach things is very regimented, I guess. And with the change bots, I have a basic story of how it's going to go, but how it gets from each point to each point is pretty open, and I kind of write that as I go along, and that's just a lot of fun to have this a different way of writing stories that's more open and freewheeling, and there's a lot more, I guess, discovery and accident in terms of the writing that way. So just in general, just writing the books is a lot of fun, and coming up with jokes at the last minute as I'm drawing the page and things.
Now, you mentioned you have a son, and are you introducing your childhood culture to him, or are you, I mean, is he going to have his own, Transformers movie watching party, or?
A little bit. He's got some of the toys. He hasn't watched the cartoons yet. He's 4 and maybe just a little bit young. But he has Star Wars Legos, and he has Star Wars shirts and things. He's never seen Star Wars, but he knows he knows who these characters are, and superheroes. He's got some books, and he's got some toys, but he hasn't really read a lot of comics yet. So I think he's just kind of absorbing all this stuff naturally. But I try not to enforce my tastes on him too much, but.
Yeah, you guys just enjoy watching, what is it, Blue Planet together?
Yeah, he loves, basically anything narrated by David Attenborough is what he wants to watch. Blue Planet, Planet Earth, the Walking with Dinosaurs series. He's really into all that, which is great, because it's that at this point in life, that's a lot of times more interesting to me than especially some of the cartoons that are new these days. Like much better than. No offense to the creators of Dora the Explorer, but I would rather watch Blue Planet.
I just want to go back for 1 second. We were talking about the autobio comics, and now you have an opportunity, like you were saying. You have your own son. You've got this relationship with your dad that you've been writing about. You have a unique opportunity in your comics to not only document your own life, but then you've actually gone back and sort of re-edited it with like Be a Man as one of those. Do you ever find yourself now, like, looking back on your life, or looking forward with your son and going, God, I want to do this different, and thinking about going back and redoing it? Or I'm kind of the mind, just both in making art and in life, is that to not regret things. It's like if I could go back, or if I was going through these things again, I would do things much differently. I like to think that I'm a much wiser man now, but I all those things, for good or bad, shaped who I am now, and as long as I'm happy with who I am now, I can't really second guess that too much. So, but it's fun in terms of fictionalizing certain events from the past is fun to do occasionally. So. Well, we're going to wrap this up the way we wrap up all of our interviews, by asking you, what's your issue? What is the comic book that you've read that was so crazy or so out there or so wild that you just find yourself talking to people about it and going, man, have you read this?
Well, I don't remember the exact issue, but there was, I just finished the ChangeBots book, and a lot of the book is about this character Shootatron, who's kind of the equivalent of Megatron. And there was an issue of the Marvel Transformers comic where Megatron loses his memory, and this kind of common petty criminal picks him up, and all of a sudden he's got this gun that has perfect aim, and he's just on this crime spree until the end of the issue that Megatron finally realizes like who he is and transforms. And there's something about that issue that is really strange. It's like this Transformers comic where it's like just this guy with a gun, basically.
Sort of the antithesis of a regular Transformers comic.
Yeah, it's kind of like almost like they had this other story they wanted to write, and they just wanted to, like, we'll just do it here, throw in a few robots. But that idea of having this robot being used and like all of a sudden remembering it. It's kind of a strange thing.
All right. Well, thank you very much for meeting with us, and we look forward to more work from you.